So is the Fresno housing market finally giving buyers a little breathing room, or are sellers still holding the line? So if you're thinking about buying, selling, relocating, or just trying to make sense of it all here in Fresno, California real estate, well, today, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down the Fresno, California housing market through March 31st, 2026, what home prices are, what they're doing, what inventory is doing, how long homes are sitting, what mortgage rates are doing, and what all of this actually means for you. And here's the big takeaway up front. Fresno is not crashing, but it is definitely becoming more negotiable than it was during the frenzy. So welcome back to this channel. This is Rufi Alday with Rufi Alday Real Estate Group. We are taking a more diagnostic approach to real estate today, as we do with all of our transactions. So if you're moving to Fresno or comparing Fresno versus Clovis, California, this channel is built for you. And throughout this video, I'm going to keep this simple. No hype, no fear, just the numbers and what they mean in real life. So let's start with a big picture. The Fresno market is still somewhat competitive, but it's clearly not as intense as the ultra heated market we saw when buyers were waiving everything and trying to win homes in 5 minutes. And Redfin currently scores Fresno at 68 out of 100 on its competitive scale. Homes in Fresno are getting about 2 offers on average, and the average home is selling roughly 48 to 58 days, depending on the metrics viewed. Redfin also says the average home is selling about 1% below list price, while hotter homes can still command and sell for around 1% above list price and go pending in about 22 days. It's still active, still desirable, still moving, but buyers have more room to think, negotiate, and avoid making emotional decisions. Now, let's talk prices. According to Redfin's latest closed sale snapshot for Fresno, California, the median sales price in February 2026 was about $389,000, down for about 5.9% from last year. The sales per square foot was about $250, 2.2% down, and about 4.5% from the year before. On the listing side, Realtor.com reports Fresno's median list price in March 2026 was about $425,000, down 3% year over year. Zillow's March 31st snapshot also puts Fresno median list price roughly around $424,000. So what does that tell us? It tells us that sellers are still aiming high enough to protect the value, but actual closed sale pricing has softened a little bit compared to a year ago. In plain English, buyers have more leverage than they did last year, but Fresno is not a free fall. It's more of a recalibration of the market than a collapse of the market. Now, let's look at inventory, because it is one of the biggest reasons this market feels different. According to Realtor.com, reports that active listing in Fresno reached 839 homes in March. That's a year, and the new list 11%. That's a meaningful shift because more inventory usually gives buyers more choices and reduces that pressure to overbid on every decent home that hits the market. So, according to Realtor.com, Fresno market also shows sales inventory at over 1,200, and the different platforms use different methodologies. So, the exact count may vary by source, but both Zillow and Realtor.com point to the same direction. Most homes are on the market than a year ago. That matters because when buyers have options, sellers have to compete harder on pricing, presentation, the condition of the home, concessions, days on market. One of the clearest signs of a shifting market here in Fresno, California, how long homes are taking to sell. According to Redfin, Fresno homes sold after around 50 days on market in February, compared to within 37 days a year earlier. Realtor.com says the typical Fresno home spent about 45 days on the market in March, up about 3.5% from a year ago. Zillow shows a median home of 21 days to pending as of March 31st. These numbers aren't identical because the sources measure slightly differently, but the common theme is the same. Homes are taking longer than they were during the hottest periods, which gives buyers more time and puts pressure on sellers who miss the mark on pricing. This is why strategy matters. The best homes that are priced right can still move quickly, but the average or overpriced listing, well, those are sitting longer, and that creates opportunity for buyers. Price reductions, buyer leverage. Here's where things get even more interesting for buyers. Realtor.com noted that nearly 1 in 5 Fresno listings had a price cut in March, and the share of price reductions rose compared to within a year earlier. Zillow's market page also shows that the latest sales metrics available there, 40.3% of sales were below list price, while 33.6% sold above list price, and the median sales list price was about 1. Realtor.com, that is not the profile of a runaway seller's market, though. That is the profile of a market where buyers can negotiate, especially if the property has been sitting, has already taken a price reduction, and needs a little bit of cosmetic work, or the seller's already bought another home. So, for Fresno buyers into one of the better windows we've seen in a while to ask for things like seller credits, closing cost help, rate buydowns, repairs, or stronger contract protections. Mortgage rates and affordability. Now let's just talk about the part everybody watches. Mortgage rates. Freddie Mac reported that the average 30-year fixed rate 8% in March and 6.37 in April. Rocket Mortgage California showed a 30-year fixed rate about 6.625 on a 30-year FHA, and 30 it was 5.8 as of April 11th. So even though the rates are still not what people remember from 2021, they're still hovering in a range that buyers have been learning to work. This is where I always remind people, you just don't marry the rate. You have the payment, the plan, and the property. If you can negotiate a better purchase price, get seller credits, and structure a smart loan, that may matter more than waiting around for some magical rate drop that may or may not even come exactly on it. So what does this mean for buyers? So what does this mean if you are buying in Fresno right now? Number one, you have more choices than buyers had a year ago. Number two, you may have more negotiation power. Number three, Fresno is still competitive enough that the really clean, well-priced homes can move fast. This, according to Redfin, this is not a market where I would tell buyers to panic and rush, but it's also not a market where I would tell buyers to casually drift for 6 months with no pre-approval letter and no strategy and no understanding of your monthly payment. It is in a market, the winning buyer is not the most emotional buyer. The winning buyer, it's the most prepared buyer. What does this mean for sellers? Well, if you're selling in Fresno, California, the message is simple. You can still sell, but you have to be sharper. You cannot rely on 2021 pricing psychology in a 2026 market. The data shows more inventory, more price cuts, longer time on market, and more sensitivity to condition and pricing. So, if you're a seller in Fresno right now, your success is going to come down to pricing it correctly from day one, making the home show beautifully, having strong marketing, and understanding that buyers are watching value much more closely than before. The sellers who win in this market are the ones who respect the market. Final takeaway. So here's the honest truth of the Fresno, California market, especially through March 31st, 2026. Fresno is still moving. It is still somewhat competitive, but the market is more balanced than it was before. Buyers have more room. Sellers need to be better strategically paced and priced correctly, and the conversation will go back and forth on the negotiation. So if you are thinking of buying, selling, relocating, or even comparing Fresno versus Clovis, please do reach out to us directly. Here's my contact information. We'd be honored to help you build a strategy based on your goals, your timeline, and your budget. If this video helped you, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment in the section below. Do you think Fresno is becoming more of a buyer's market in 2026? I'd love to hear from you and your thoughts.